Perfect timing. Hey, you guys. I'm Dr. Garrett. This is Holly Hajaj. Yeah.
Good job.
Good job. See? And my name's Patrick.
Garrett.
It's Patrick.
Garrett.
All right. So welcome to live feed tonight. We're going to talk about home remedies. So this month we're talking about like natural medicine cabinet. You know, what kind of stuff should you have on hand? Also want to hear from you guys too. So as you guys come on, we'll keep reminding you that. And so this week we're specifically talking about allergies. And so what are the natural remedies that we use? What are the natural remedies that we could eat and drink and supplement sometimes if we have like acute or chronic things. But really, when it comes to like allergies, the goal is it shouldn't be chronic with us. If it's chronic allergies, then we're chronically doing something wrong, and we want to fix that. And so it may be just very simple changes in our diet, or eliminating certain chemicals from our environment, and really a lot of times it's just food sensitivities, getting rid of those from our diet. And so I'll put on a couple things here, load onto Facebook, and let me see if I can see us on here, and I'll post something real fast. So I'm going to post a picture here, and it might not work because we're on. I don't know. All right, let me see. Nope, I can't do it yet. So it might be after that I'll do that. And of course, Dan says, is moonshine medicinal?
Of course.
That's right. It's called Love Potion number 9, and that's how I was created. A little bit of moonshine and moonshine.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So then that equals love, right?
Yeah.
But that has nothing to do with allergies.
This is all based on science, folks.
Yeah. I am a cryptozoologist of love. All right. That's not funny? God dang it.
Good try. It was a good try.
Okay. So, with allergies, so as we go, I'm going to shut this off if it's not going to do it. What are some of your guys' home remedies that you really like? What are some things that you've tried that maybe didn't work? And ask us any kind of questions that you have as far as allergy-related concerns. And we'll address those.
Yeah, so we're going to start with talking about seasonal allergies, because it's that time of year. So please, would you tell us what are you struggling with? And would you please post that so that we can speak to it? Also, can you please share our talk with your friends and your family and anyone else, just because this is really great information to have, and you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to go anywhere for it. You can sit at home, get some good information that might truly help you out. What?
Dan Gordon's probably making moonshine while he's watching this.
The next show is going to be the Moonshine Show.
That's right. All right, so I have exciting news. I have a patient who had horrible allergies. So she started out, she had a gut condition. We got that fixed pretty easy. We had all these other things fixed, but we couldn't fix this last thing. And so she was trying our general recommendations that I usually make that usually always work. Very simple things work. And it didn't work. And so I love when it doesn't work because that means I have to learn some more stuff. So I looked at a couple references that I used and said, well, what have I not used that traditionally is used for allergies? And it came up with the only thing I've never tried or never prescribed is grapefruit seed extract. And usually I always recommend grape seed extract, which back in the day, when there were seeds actually in the grapes, you just eat the grapes, chew up the seeds, and they're full of something called anthocyanidins, which are PCAs, and those are antihistamines. So you used to be able to just get it when you eat basic fruits all the time. But we now have seedless grapes, and then you can't do it, so then you got to buy it. So now you buy grape seed extract, so you don't have to eat the seeds in the grapes.
Is there a difference between grape seed extract and grapefruit seed?
Well, I was getting there.
Extract, okay.
All right, you're trying to go to the end of the movie, right?
Just curious, just curious.
Right. So, grape seed extract is your typical recommendation at like 200 milligrams. that's my like usual go-to. It's a great antihistamine. It's very gentle. For mild kind of things, it always seems to work really well. But this wasn't working for her, and so that grapefruit seed, so it'd be the seeds in the grapefruits, yeah? Not grapes that are fruits, but grapefruit. Yeah. So those seeds are full of, they're chock full of these antihistamines, and they also knock down mast cells and prostaglandins and interleukins. So that whole cascade of inflammatory molecules that ends up causing the histamine reaction that we typically think of, like watery eyes, sneezing, coughing, post-nasal drip down the back, it worked like a charm for her. That was like amazing. So I was very excited because I learned something new, which doing this for 14 years, that I'm still surprised. Like every week I learn some new thing. It's like never ending. But that's a really good recommendation now. So I'm going to try that with a few more patients and see if it's pretty consistent among all patients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything specific that you're suffering with? We talked a little bit about sinusitis last talk.
Yeah.
Anything specific that you're struggling with seasonally right now? And if we don't have very much response on that, can you talk a little bit about the histamine response and how it works?
Yeah. So the way it works in your immune system is you have these neighborhood watch cells that just basically monitor what goes on in your body and who should be there, who should not be there. Like a club bouncer, but kind of like neighborhood watch. They're going around all the neighborhoods. Can't really do much, but they just, what is it called? Report? What do they say? Report and not respond. They can't do anything. Do you know what it is? Watch.
Record and report? Watch and report?
No. It's on... dang it. Anyways, so all they can do is watch and then call the police, right? And so they're T cells. And then so in your body, these T cells, which come from your thymus, their job is to say, do you belong here, do you not belong here? And that's it. That's all they do. So they go to look at your cells and they say, you belong here. They look at food, you belong here. But then they find like a pathogen like Klebsiella pneumonia or a virus or a bacteria or a parasite and say, oh, you don't belong here. Once it finds something that doesn't belong there, those T cells then call the police, and the police are B cells. And B cells can actually do something now. So let's say it finds a virus and tells the B cells, and then the B cells come and they respond to it, and they will then program their bullets, which are antibodies, to only work on that specific pathogen, and then they'll just fire off, 3,000 per second per cell. So that's a lot of bullets, right? That's like a Texas banana clip extreme, right? So 3,000 antibodies per second. And then those antibodies will stick only to that specific pathogen. So if it was coded for Klebsiella pneumonia, it only binds to Klebsiella pneumonia.
Are we back?
Got a phone call. So, but you guys were more important, so I ignored.
We're here for you.
That's right.
Okay.
So, so if you think of like the Incredibles when he's running, Mr. Incredible's running down that narrow little path at the volcano fortress, and then those guns shoot those little sticky balls at him, and then he finally succumbs to it. That's what your B cells are doing to fight infections.
Can I jump in right quick?
I guess. I was getting to the best part of the whole story, but whatever.
I just to say hi to a few people. Newman's here. Hi, Newman. What's up? Newman's here. Kyle's here. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Dan. Rachel. Glad to see you guys. We're always happy to have you join us. Teresa's also suggested asthma and constant runny nose and drainage. We'll try and address that. Hi, Deb. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Hi, you guys.
Yeah. So, go ahead, and I have another question, too.
I don't know what I'm...
You were getting to B cells.
He
went to B cells.
All right. So then all those antibodies stick to the B cells, right? And then... what happens?
I have no idea.
Oh. So now that you have this bacteria stuck with all these antibodies, then a big cell comes over called a macrophage, and it eats those up, right? And macrophage sounds really intelligent unless you know Latin, and then you know it means big eater cell. So a macrocyte, or a macrophage site, just is a big eater cell. So nobody would trust their physician if he said, then the big eater cell, it eats the antibodies.
Right. That sounds
right?
real scientific.
So that wouldn't sound right. So we call it a macrophage. That way we can get paid higher money for that. So that macrophage then eats that, and then it goes and spreads its little parts everywhere to the rest of the immune system. And then now this is the critical part, some of those antibodies then will trigger a cell called a mast cell. And a mast cell then starts dumping out histamines, and that's where things get interesting for people with allergies.
Okay.
So the mast cells then, wherever they go to, whether they're H1, H2, H3, H4, will then go and trigger inflammatory responses, and that creates that cascade effect.
Can those responses vary? So, like, somebody gets a runny nose, another person gets a skin rash, another person gets a headache, another person gets... It just depends on the person? Yeah. Okay.
Well, part of it depends on how often they're getting exposed to that.
Okay.
And then how strong their immune system reaction is to that. And a lot of times how much mimicry is going on. So people that tend to eat a lot of wheat or dairy will probably have a lot more significant reactions than someone who doesn't, because of what's called molecular mimicry, but really cross-reactivity to some of those pathogens. And Klebsiella pneumonia, which is the one that we use, that's one of the most common ones. It's just a very benign kind of walking pneumonia that people get. But it is very similar to many other tissues in the body and other foods that we eat that mimics it. So,
if those of you who are just joining us, if you would feel comfortable sharing with us what your allergies are, seasonal, we're talking about seasonal allergies right now, but if you've got other ones you'd like to share, please share those too. We'll try to address them. Yeah,
so when that happens, those blood vessels will dilate, and now your immune cells, like your neutrophils and lymphocytes, they can actually then go out of the blood wall, and into the tissue to fight infections. So that's always really good. That's how it should happen. But if there's an overreaction to that, then you start getting these horrible kind of allergy responses. So nobody should be allergic to pollen and oak and dust and all those kind of things. Nobody should.
Why? Because it's an immune system issue?
Right. So it's kind of like if your T cells are there to say, is this a bad guy or a good guy? It should be able to look at cat dander and say, yeah, that's cat dander. Since Adam and Eve to today, moms have been passing their immune system down to their children, and so there's this giant database that your cells have of what everything is.
So theoretically, we shouldn't suffer with outdoor allergies.
Right, not at all.
If our immune systems were in working order.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So you know what screws it up?
What screws it up, Dr. G?
So, I blame the government. A lot of people won't blame the government for the allergies, but I blame... No, what about chemtrails, right? Chemtrails?
Ooh.
Yeah? Yeah. I was on to something.
You may have a point.
I was just joking, and now this is going to probably get taken off the air. So, wait, what were we talking about? Because so what we have when we have allergies, or we have abnormal large reactions to this histamine, or large histamine reactions, is what's called T cell dysregulation. And there's three main things that we do to cause T cell dysregulation. So when we talk about autoimmune disease, it's the same kind of basic premise here. Is one, sugar. So,
ooh.
Somebody...
I thought sugar was your friend.
That's right.
I thought it was my friend.
It is. Sugar's more addicting than crack cocaine. Did you know that?
In the short term, it is your friend. In
That's
the long term, it is not.
So you're better off using crack cocaine and not sugar, right? That's
so
what I've been doing.
If we're eating sugar, we're contributing to our histamine response.
Sort of. So with T cells, if you overconsume sugar, you suppress your T cell's ability to do its job, right? So think about, okay, so sugar is just as addictive as crack, right? So what if we took the neighborhood watch in my neighborhood and we got them all hooked on crack? I'm thinking experiment, right? I hear you.
This would be interesting.
Like, I got some crack in the car, so we should do that. Oh, I got a crack in my window.
Oh.
But I got that fixed, so that I don't have any crack now.
Right.
All right.
Let's make the show about cracks.
We should make, the next show will be how to make your own meth to pay for your cancer costs. Just like Breaking Bad.
And redirect.
Okay, back to the story here. All right.
So, real quick, hi, Tiffany. Hi, Deb. Thank you for joining. Thank you for making funny comments. It makes it fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, who knows how much sugar the average American consumes by pounds each year? Can you make the Jeopardy sound?
We've talked, dee, da, da. It's a little cliche.
Oh, come on.
We need something different, like a drum roll.
I have zero talent.
Or a drum circle.
I don't have any talent. Newman,
Okay.
Can you do a drum?
So a lot of sugar. We eat a lot of sugar. Way too much. Thank you, Teresa. Yes, 900 pounds.
Pretty close.
300 Scott.
That's how much is in it. 17.
11,000.
You guys are so close. So close. So it was 160 pounds of sugar a year. So the average American consumes 160 pounds of sugar.
Wow. That's like the weight of... I mean, I'm kind of giving away my weight, but that's a human person.
Yeah, that's how much I weigh too. Damn, I didn't want to give up my weight, but it's 160 pounds. You guys caught me. So 160 pounds, and it only takes about a teaspoon of sugar to actually suppress the immune system or the T cells for 15 minutes. So,
1 teaspoon.
1 teaspoon. Guess how much the average Coke has in it?
10.
No.
Anybody else know? How many teaspoons of sugar is in a Coke?
Come on, 10?
100.
What is this, Germany?
It should be.
How much now?
I don't know. How many teaspoons of sugar in a Coke? In a soda?
So a can should have about 16 teaspoons. So
Okay.
it's 1...
Times
2,
15 minutes? I thought it was 30
3.
minutes.
Okay, let's make it 30.
Okay, it suppresses your immune system. So if we did 30 minutes times 15, what's that?
So 1 soda can suppress it all day long. Now guess how much the average American teenager by age 15, how many sodas they consume?
In a day?
In a year.
Oh, in a year. I don't know.
Am I going to guess?
You got to throw out all these statistics. We're not in your brain.
So 800 sodas a year.
Wow.
America! Yeah. So, if we have a nation that's consuming 160 pounds of sugar, average teenagers are getting half their daily calories from sugar, or from soda, we should probably have a bunch of histamine problems because we have a bunch of T-cell dysregulation.
Yeah.
So, and that really started about 1910 when we started importing sugar. And in 1910, the average American started consuming 10 pounds of sugar a year.
So when we consume the sugar and it suppresses our immune system, we get seasonal allergies. Does that also contribute to food allergies?
Right, yeah. Yeah, they're all the same.
And chemical allergies?
So chemicals are probably a little bit different because chemicals are chemical insults to us. So like some people are sensitive to people's perfumes, and so it's typically not going to be allergic to, say, the flower oil that came from lavender flowers or something like that. But it's more likely the chemicals made from petroleum to smell like lavender is actually irritating to your nose, and then releases histamines because of this kind of chronic injury or insult. And that releases arachidonic acid, which then creates a cascade response through COX-1 and COX-2 and fibrox enzymatic pathways that lead to chronic inflammation. So it's a little bit different. The result's still about the same, but they're getting...
But you could still be more susceptible, right? If your immune system is already
Right, yeah.
compromised.
Oh, yeah. And that's why some people are horribly allergic to, say, someone's perfume, and other people it doesn't bother them.
Yeah.
And then old ladies are totally not bothered by it.
Yeah. So
White diamonds.
So we talked about sugar, and now Teresa's asking. So you said wheat is bad. Do you want to add wheat to sugar
Wheat's
as well?
bad.
Is wheat bad? Do oats have wheat? Can't seem to find the answer to that.
Oh.
I did not mean to make that sound like a Dr. Seuss poem, but it kind of just did.
So, okay. So wheat is a very, very common molecular mimic. And so wheat is always notoriously associated to allergies. And then oats don't have gluten in them, but modern oats, or not modern oats, oats that are processed in the U.S. are usually processed in plants that also process wheat. So for people that are super sensitive, that can cause huge problems for them. But for other people, it may not cause any problem for them. And you can get Bob's Red Mill certified gluten-free oats if you're worried about that at all.
Yeah.
So does that make sense?
So wheat can be a contributing factor.
Oh,
it is one of the top contributors.
Biggest, yeah, number one.
Yeah.
And then what's number two?
Well, we did sugar, wheat. The third one would be...
3.
Does anybody know what number 3 is? I know someone knows what number 3 is. Somebody who's been watching. We've got sugar. We've got wheat. What is the third contributor? What is the third biggie? Anybody?
It's also called the devil.
That's a hint.
That's the 3 devils.
That's a hint. Dairy. Jenny got it. Dairy.
Good job, Jenny.
Thank you, Jenny.
So
and Teresa.
I used to say the 3 white devils: white sugar, white milk, and white flour. And so I'd tell patients to kill Whitey. That's hilarious. So.
Yeah.
And then one did.
Oh. and then we didn't have talks anymore for a really long time.
That's right.
So Dan's asking, and we were kind of talking about that. Do we develop allergies, or do we just have them?
Develop them. So this is kind of interesting, is your blood up until 6 months is your mama's blood, right? And so all the blood pumping through those little veins are your mom's immune system. So some of those you can be born with, because if mom's immune system's suppressed, then you'll have a suppressed one to start with. But your T cells, when they start being produced, especially when you're a baby, it's huge. Your thymus is ginormous like this. And then when you get older, it's just a lot smaller. But the thymus actually makes T cells go through this kind of university training, it was crazy to me when I did this presentation for functional medicine diplome. And literally, it tests T cells to see if they can correctly identify self-antigens and then correctly identify non-self antigens. And if they pass that test, then they're circulated in your immune system, and then they are able to access what's self and non-self antigens. And so that part of the immune system, if that starts messing up, then it's acquired.
Okay.
So you can be born with it, but it should improve. Otherwise, it's acquired.
Okay. Majority acquired?
Oh, I would say so, yeah.
Okay.
Based on zero research and 100% assumption.
But even if it is acquired, is there still something we can do about it?
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, not acquired, even if... Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Even if you're born with it.
Yeah. That's
there's
Maybelline.
Still...
It's Maybelline. Are you getting...
Maybelline is one of our sponsors.
Are you getting promotions for this? Maybe you're born with it. Maybe it's allergies.
So, yeah, Rachel says when her husband cut out the wheat, his allergies got so much better.
Boom. Well, and I'll tell you what, that's your cheapest and easiest fix is get rid of the wheat and dairy and see if they go away, especially the sugar long term. I had this patient once that came all the way from Mexico and said that when he's in America and he eats ice cream, he gets all these allergies.
Uh-huh.
But then when they go back to Mexico and live with their families, the allergies go away. And I say, well, do you consume a lot of dairy or ice cream in Mexico? And he says, no. And he goes, what do you think I ought to do? I was like, you just answered your question.
Yeah, right.
Every time you come up here, you eat a bunch of ice cream, you get allergies. It's the dairy, right? But we don't even think like that. Most people don't think, holy crap, this could be something I'm causing to myself just through what I'm eating. And so here you have somebody that's just taken Allegra and Flonase and Singulair for years so that they could eat their ice cream unknowingly.
Yeah, making that connection between the ingesting the allergen and then that seasonal response.
Yeah. So someone asked about asthma.
Yeah, we had an asthma question, and also wanted to say real quick, sorry about pizza, Scott. I know it's hard. And maybe, Scott, we should have a group therapy session just on pizza, and I might even ask for macaroni and cheese.
Yeah. So the pizza's easy. All you do is take cauliflower and make crust out of it, and then put your marinara on there, and then shoot yourself. Because it'll never taste like pizza again.
That's horrible.
Pizza. So wheat is morphine, dairy is morphine, and sugar is like hard drugs, right? So you have casomorphin, glutenomorphin, and then crack cocaine, and that's pizza, and that's why pizza is that like universal like addiction food, like that's, and it has MSG in the pepperoni and in the sausage, and so for most people, I mean, it is straight up hardcore drugs when they eat pizza.
Deb's saying that she stopped both wheat and dairy, and she still has allergies. So can you speak to that?
You're off this line. I think we're going through a tunnel. I can't quite see you. All right, so it may not just be wheat or dairy, right? Because wheat or dairy are the most common ones, but they're not the only ones.
Yeah.
And so that's where like food sensitivity testing comes in. Most people that do that, that's usually the miracle cure for them, is just stop causing it through the excess histamines.
Yeah, it can be very unique to the person. Yeah.
Right. And over the years, that's like my instant go-to if they have chronic histamine reactions is get rid of the wheat and dairy. If it doesn't go away, then just do the testing and then it's gone. Yeah,
because there have been times when you have prescribed, or at least there was a time when you prescribed what would normally or in general be a good recommendation food-wise for someone that turned out to be horrible for them,
right,
because of their response to it.
Yeah.
So
Deb, that's the most common thing that you can do. And I'll post at the end what that looks like. And then again, we've had a couple patients where they did that and they did the other, and they still had allergies, and then I had to learn more. And so that's where that last couple patients, that grapefruit seed extract really worked. Now, long term, if somebody's had that stuff for years going on, then it may just take a little bit longer to get rid of. And if you can knock that histamine level down to here, it may not go back up and surge again if they're doing their food sensitivities and staying away from wheat and dairy and sugar as much as possible.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to undo it pretty aggressively to try to knock those levels down really low, and that way they don't creep back up. But that's worked really good for even seasonal allergies. So we've had patients that like I had a patient once that the husband was just like, he had one gear. He always said he has first gear, and for millennials, they probably don't know what that means, but you have a stick shift, and you go first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear, and if you have a Porsche, sixth gear. That's right. I don't want to brag. I had an old Porsche, but still a Porsche. So, what was I talking about? Porsches. Oh, so he had a first gear. He's always in first gear, right? So, we started doing all these things, and he couldn't go outside. If he was going outside, it would knock him down for a week, right? So then, after about 6 months, I think, of working with him, it was a pretty tough case. His wife came in, and she was smiling with me in springtime, and she said, I said, well, what's up? You know, what's the smiles about? And, because nobody smiles when they come in my office, ever. So she's all smiling.
Tears first, smiles later.
That's right. And so she said, we left our windows open. And I was like, I don't know what that means. And so she said, you don't understand, for our whole entire marriage, We've never been able to leave the windows open in our house, or basically it just kills her husband. And so that was awesome. That was the first time in their whole marriage. And again, it wasn't dealing with anything but really just getting rid of the food sensitivities so that way the histamines would drop. And then, a few months later, he was doing the landscaping.
Wow.
Yeah. It was amazing.
So, what do you think about the over-the-counter remedies for
yeah.
seasonal allergies? I mean, they're all over the place, especially around here. You know, Wichita is number one.
Oh, we're number one in the country, right?
We're consistently number one
Number
for seasonal allergy distress.
That's right. And we're also number one in cavities by age 15.
What?
I don't want to brag. America.
No, it's about Wichita.
Yeah, it's Wichita.
Okay, Wichita. We can't blame Wichita for everything.
I know. Wichita's the Obama of the cities. Everybody's blaming it. All right, so the over-the-counter ones.
Over-the-counter.
Typically, the deal is if we can just chronically have this dysfunction going on, we're going to make these cytokines and interleukins and inflammatory molecules and prostaglandins, and that's what's going to cause us to be inflamed, and our nose to run, sinuses get stopped up, postnasal drip, all these kind of nasty things. And so the solution typically is, well, just shut those processes off, right? That way you can do whatever you want and not have the symptoms, although the inflammatory process is still going on. So you have things like Singulair, which are leukotriene inhibitors, and then you have like Flonase, which is steroids. And what they do is they just suppress the immune system in a person that already has a suppressed immune system, and then those people are going to end up worse eventually later.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things that people can do, like Benadryl and stuff. It's horribly toxic crap in there, but it is antihistamine.
It makes you feel better in the short term, but it's really not taking care of the cause.
Right. It's not fixing anything. And so basically you're just paying to chronically manage a chronic condition, which is what 3 out of every 4 Americans do in this country of ours. America!
I have to say that the grapeseed extract that you recommended, I tried.
I don't think you tried that one. I think you're lying. I think you missed it. I think you thought it said grapeseed extract, and then you bragged about it, and then you learned it was grapefruit seed extract, and I think you're making it up.
I think you should probably just let me tell my story.
I think you made it up. Did you make it up?
No!
You made it up, didn't you?
No, grapeseed extract.
You feel bad because someone was bragging about it, and you weren't.
No, I'm not kidding. Okay, so I started working on my diet. I met this dude. We started doing these talks.
I never made that recommendation before.
I started changing my diet.
You're probably talking about some other doctor.
It was great. I thought it was grapeseed extract. Yes?
Yeah, grapeseed. See?
That's what I said.
That's what I said.
Okay, so he recommended that I do this.
Grapeseed.
Yes, grapeseed.
But you were saying you did grapefruit seed.
No,
extract.
I didn't.
God dang it. She's making stuff up.
We're going to look this up online.
It's
anyway,
on Facebook.
So grapeseed extract.
All right,
I started taking this grapeseed extract, and I was having trouble each season transitioning and having all kinds of respiratory trouble. And it has been really surprising how much of a positive change that has made.
How many milligrams did you do?
I couldn't tell you. I can't remember, to be honest. I think I just took I think I may have taken what the bottle said, and then maybe ask you about it and upped it by one.
The bottle talking to you? Take me! Take 4 of me!
So
it says like 200 milligrams probably.
Is there a therapeutic dose you need to get with?
Like 200, 3 times a day, something like that.
So, okay.
Yeah, it's a very mild thing. But the grape seeds actually have this antihistamine.
So Teresa is saying, do you just stop the meds and stop wheat and dairy? Can you start with that? I'm adding to her question, but she says, do you just stop the meds and stop the wheat and dairy?
So I can't tell you to stop the meds or start the meds, but one might do that. Let's see. I mean, if you stop doing it, I mean, that's the thing as far as those kind of meds. There's just symptomatic relief, so maybe.
You could experiment with transition.
Right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Slowly.
Like
Well, maybe if you were taking the meds, couldn't you start with the food
Right.
digesting the food while you're on the meds.
Right. So I don't like med questions. So.
Okay.
The goal is to not need the meds. So then when people go off the meds, they don't need the meds and they feel great. Does that make sense? So do the no wheat or dairy, and then I don't know how that works, because if they're self-prescribing that's over the counter, if it's over the counter, you gotta stop it and do no wheat or dairy. I can see that comfortably.
And give that some time?
Yeah. Well, it might be pretty damn quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
You heard it here. And that, for those of you who don't know or didn't get that clearly, that's grape seed extract. GRAPE seed, SEED extract. Scott Spradlin is asking, if you get a moment, what do you think about Ezekiel breads made from grains and sprouts? Is this a safe alternative to bread?
Absolutely not. See that? Suspense.
Okay.
So Ezekiel bread still so it's basically having ancient grains, right? But you look at emmer grain, einkorn grain, those are genetically the same grains as, say, when Jesus made bread, right? Or more like his mom made bread. So when Jesus' mom made bread, she probably used those genetic strains. Now, modern wheat has been modified so many times that the genetics of that wheat no longer resemble the ancient grain strains of that. So, in theory, if you had non-alterated strains, then perceivably that could be good. Perceivably? That's not a word.
Perceivably?
Perceivably.
Uh-huh.
Yeah? That doesn't sound right.
Perceivably. Mm-hmm. It is a word.
Indubitably.
Indubitably.
All right. So probably not. I wouldn't do Ezekiel bread at all, especially if you're symptomatic. The only type of bread you really want to do is maybe a paleo bread recipe or a whole grain gluten-free recipe. Otherwise, it's just too much risk if you're symptomatic. And the whole goal that we have with patients is that you stop these things are most likely it. You feel good. When you feel normal, sustain that normal, then do a little experiment. So like not even einkorn or emmer grains until you feel great and you're asymptomatic. Then you test those waters.
Okay. Rachel's asking, is grapeseed extract in a bottle? Use a dropper? I bought just the pills.
Right. So typically what you do to get maximum strength is you take a spoon and you bend the spoon over, and then you take the powder and put it in.
Every talk.
This is
folks.
real. This is how we do it old school. Like under the bridge.
Every single talk.
Put a little bit of water there.
I promise I'm going to help him get some new material.
And you get butane.
I promise.
A butane lighter? No? How do you do it?
I do it by answering her question. Okay, so grapeseed extract. Does it come in a liquid form? It wouldn't, would it? Because it's the seed. No?
I don't know. Usually it's just a capsule. And it's dirt cheap, which that's the other thing I love. Is some of the best remedies are like the most dirt cheap remedies there are. Now, the most expensive remedy when it comes to allergies is the fastest way to break down histamines is through methyltransferase. And methyltransferase is created through the process of SAMe, or S-acetylmethionine, and that's created through methyl B12. So, in theory, if you get enough methyl B12, either sublingually, like 5,000 micrograms, sublingual, under the tongue, you should make enough SAMe. But if you're trying to kind of do provocative testing to see if that's the missing piece, then SAMe is like $1 a pill, and you want to buy them in little blister packs. They can't be exposed to light, but they're like $1 a pill, and you can do like 400 to 1,600 milligrams, and that will boost methyltransferase, and it'll bust up those histamines super fast. And it's one of the only ones that gets rid of the histamines in the brain. The other one is diamine oxidase, or daosin, or daosin is the product name. And I have not had anybody that actually benefited from that yet.
Okay.
So The other pathway, though, has been some of our hardest to treat patients that Sammy has worked really well on. But again, I've had other patients where it was grapefruit seed extract that worked.
Okay.
It's all about figuring out what the mechanism is that's triggering it.
So now that we're starting to talk about remedies, can we discuss some different things? Supplements, essential oils, foods, herbs, or maybe start with what are your top picks?
Well, what do you think about essential oils?
I love essential oils. I'm using them all the time now.
You know the best way to prepare them? You take a spoon and you bend it. All right.
I'm taking over, folks.
All right, tell us your favorite essential oils that are antihistamines.
That are for antihistamines?
Yeah.
One of my most favorite essential oils right now is peppermint.
Yeah, and peppermint is awesome. The brain stimulator.
You can do so much with it too. Like you could ingest it, you can diffuse it. What else can you do?
Rub it on your skin.
Rub it on your skin.
Put it in your bathtub.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Put it right here.
I think peppermint oil works. 2 drops of peppermint oil under the tongue works better than a throat lozenge.
Is that right?
That's how I feel. Like I've had really, really great results with that.
I always put peppermint in my mustache if I got a stuffy nose, and eucalyptus oil.
Eucalyptus is that's a good common one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eucalyptus, I actually, if I feel stuffy a little bit, I'll put a few drops in my hands and then warm them up, and then like that, like a breathing treatment. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So like, there's been maybe 1 or 2 times where like I did that in between every patient because it was just like it just felt like it was postnasal drip and all that stuff, and so I was just busy. So that's my go-to thing. And I like breathe it in, and then I could breathe really well, and I'd see my patient, and then I'd start to get stuffed up, and then next patient I'd do the same thing.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the day, I felt pretty good.
Yeah.
So.
Or if you're at home, heat up a mug of water or bowl of water and put some in there. Put your head over it.
Yeah.
Put it in the bath.
You know, for congestion too, one of the videos, I think one of the first videos I did and put on Facebook or YouTube was take a pot and bend the spoon. Take a pot with a little bit of water in there, chop up onions and garlic and put it in there, and then start simmering that. And all that will create the plume of all those molecules from the onions and the garlic. And then I put a towel over my head, and then I just breathe that in, and then I have a paper towel, and I just blow everything out.
Yeah.
And then do it again and blow everything out. And your sinuses from one side to the other, they will go like this. So every, I think, 20 minutes, one is kind of clogged and one is kind of open. So like I feel pretty clear now, but if I do perfect, that's better. Okay, so this one's the one that's kind of clogged up right now, but in 20 minutes it'll be open and this one will be closed, and that's how your body kind of cleanses the nasocochlea or conch.
Okay.
So if you do that and you feel like, oh my God, this part it doesn't hurt anymore, I feel really good, all that sinus drainage is gone, but I still have a little pain here. Just wait a few minutes and then do that one, and you'll usually get that other side cleared up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you overdose on peppermint oil, say diffusing or?
Probably not diffusing. Probably there's certain things that you don't want to do with children, as far as eucalyptus or some of the things that might suppress a little bit of breathing. But there's a lot of people that under your doctor's orders you can. So you want to know when not to use essential oils. But really, like unless you're doing internal, you're probably pretty safe. I use a diffuser as a breathing treatment once in a while.
Yeah.
If I feel a little bit stuffy.
The other thing I really like is the neti pot. We talked about this last week. He doesn't like it. Have you even tried it?
They need a neti hose where you put it to the faucet and you put up one nostril and then it sprays out the other side.
So it's not that bad once you figure it out. Once you figure out how to use it. And I experimented with apple cider vinegar. I would not recommend experimenting with this on your own, but I experimented and I had it stung like crazy, but I started with a teaspoon, And then I started reducing and diluting because it was stinging so much. But I have to say that every time I use that, just a little bit of that, like you could even probably bring it down to drop amounts. My nose stopped running immediately, and was good for the rest of the day.
Nice.
So there are very simple things that you can do, and apple cider vinegar is not going to hurt you.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
It was uncomfortable. But I knew that it wouldn't hurt me, so I tried it anyway. So the neti pot, if you're brave enough, try flushing out your sinuses with a neti pot or some other sort of flush.
So peppermint, eucalyptus, what else?
Peppermint, eucalyptus, tea tree.
All right, so tea tree, you'd only want to do if you think it's bacterial infection.
Okay.
Yeah, which is only 1 out of 10 times. But otherwise, typically that's the one essential oil that you'd probably want to do the least, unless it's like a wound or something like that it's going to be bacterial infection.
What about lemon?
Oh, lemon's great, yeah.
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with lemon. You can ingest lemon. You can.
Yeah, but on the ingesting, you really want to only do that with the doctor's advice.
Okay.
Because even like the peppermint oil that they use, it's 1/25th of a drop that they use in the enteric capsules for peppermint. Okay. So even the ones that they use that you buy are like micro doses of that.
Jenny has a question. She's saying, how do you make just a plain saline solution? I know how I do it, but do you have recommendations?
You pronounced her name right.
Jenny?
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Okay.
All right. What was the question?
How do you make just a plain saline solution?
Oh, so salaine's just salt water. Is it for like a flush? I'm a little bit probably more aggressive, but I put like a teaspoon of salt in a cup of water, like probably about 12 ounces of water that's warm, and I mix it up until it's dissolved, and that's where I do my nasal flush and throat flush.
Yeah, that's what I do too.
So you might look up online like different recipes. I'm probably a little bit more aggressive than I probably should be, but do you do it a different way?
No, I do about a teaspoon of salt and I just put it right in the neti pot and stir it around in the warm water.
Yeah.
And you don't want the temperature too hot for the water; it'll dry you out. So somewhere lukewarm.
Yeah. What if all that salt your nose gets diabetes or hypertension?
And my nose gets hypertension. I had that happen. Yeah, I just got diagnosed with that recently.
I put a little Tylenol in there too.
That did not happen. No. So, thank you everybody for joining us. Scott, Brandy, Allie, Rachel. Who else do we have? Jenny and Tina has just joined us. Thank you for joining. Please share our show with the people that you know who are struggling with allergies tonight.
Yeah. And some people use colloidal silver, but I really wouldn't use colloidal silver unless bacterial. Although a lot of people swear by it. But silver will kill the good stuff and the bad stuff along with it.
Speaking of, we did not speak to this one here.
Oh, quercetin. Yeah, so quercetin is a really good mast stabilizer. So basically it helps reduce and bring down those histamine reactions. I've used those before, usually for edema, but not really for allergies yet. But quercetin's from onions and also from apples, and it's a bioflavonoid that helps with decreasing histamine reactions. But not one of my usual go-tos with that. Okay. The other thing is like even foods that are antihistamines, like apples are awesome. The darker ones are probably going to be better, but apples are kind of the apple a day kind of thing, works really well.
An apple a day?
Mm-hmm. Do you know the joke? An apple a day keeps the doctor away, but it depends on how hard you throw it.
Folks.
All right. It's my dad jokes.
So apples, what else?
Well, mangosteens, which don't get crazy on mangosteen. Buy mangosteen juices. Buy mangosteen if you can. Peaches will do it. Pomegranates are awesome. They're like the messiest possible, hardest food you could eat with the most nutrition possible. Like they're awesome. It's like fruit corn is what it ends up looking like. But the way you do it, I watched this guy out in the desert like doing this. But you have the pomegranate, and you'll see that there's lines in there, And so you just take your knife and go down the lines in the pomegranate that basically where they come together, and then you peel that or break that apart, and it'll break it into the chunks, and then you can flip it over and then knock all those seeds out, and it's super easy.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's a very big mess. One of my favorite things is capers. I love capers. So usually at cocktail parties is when I eat capers. So if you guys are having a cocktail party with capers, let me in. Okay? Just shoot me over an invitation. It's all right.
So these are foods that are antihistamine. These are antihistamine foods that fight inflammation and stabilize mast cells.
Yeah. So mast cells is the histamines. Right.
Okay.
And of course, like we said, apples has quercetin, but so does onions. And typically, again, you want your dark onions, your purple ones, your brown onions, or what do you call them? The golden ones?
Red. Did you say? Oh, you said purple.
Yeah.
Gold. Yellow. Just yellow.
Yellow ones. Yeah. So the yellow ones, but even the white ones are going to have the antihistamine properties.
Okay.
What would you do that in? Maybe like a watercress salad? I don't know. You should blend up the apple and the onion together and make an apple onion smoothie.
Someone try that, because I'm not going to.
But
if someone else wants to try that. By the way, those of you who have experimented with things, looked up some things, done your own research, tried your own remedies, please share with us what works for you. Those of you who've been working at this for a while, we'd love to hear what your success stories are. That'll help us give us some good information and some stuff to talk about. So if you've got any of those success stories, type those in and let us know.
Yeah. But also peas, garlic, watercress, so like a nice salad is an antihistamine, which, you know, it's kind of interesting. So you think about those foods and you say, well, let's make a salad with some peas in there, some capers, maybe a little pomegranate vinaigrette, salad dressing, sliced apples, sliced onions, maybe some watercress if you can find it. That's awesome. And so the most powerful roots for antihistamines is turmeric, of course, and lotus root. You ever eat lotus root?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, me neither. Maybe I have.
Has anybody eaten lotus root?
I think lotus roots, they I don't know, they look like a honeycomb, I think, when you slice them.
Okay.
But ginger, of course. And then pretty much any herb. Like any herb. Almost all herbs. Not only are they like 100,000 times more antioxidant than vitamin A, C, or E, but they're all very, very powerful ones. A lot of people do stinging nettle, moringa will do it, tarragon, like a tarragon chicken salad, really good. Thyme, chamomile, holy basil, which is also, holy basil's called, what's the other name for holy basil?
I don't know.
It's in bedtime tea by yogis.
Astragalus?
No.
I don't know.
Holy basil, Tulsi. It's also called Tulsi. Okay. Tulsi.
So, theoretically, you could take these herbs and, like, make a tea?
Absolutely.
Or just distill them, or just steam them?
Yeah, or, like, get with Dan and we can make peppermint moonshine to get rid of the allergies. That would work.
Yeah, I am curious about the moonshine question. He wanted to know what kind of therapeutic benefits moonshine might have.
Oh, it's a very powerful aphrodisiac.
Yeah. Yeah, and we discussed that earlier, but I would actually like to see if there's any research to that.
What's moonshine made of?
I don't know. I don't know.
Sugar?
I have no idea.
Ooh, what's the moonshine made of?
If anybody knows, let us know.
Maybe grains? I don't know.
Yeah.
Huh.
We'll have to do moonshine show.
This is like it sounds like we're narcs. So. Yeah, anybody know where a distillery is around here? Just go ahead and answer.
So you can't go wrong. Almost every show we've talked about turmeric and ginger. We've talked about that in almost every show this month on Home Remedies. So
is that right?
Keep that in your fridge.
Yeah.
Turmeric and ginger.
And you could grow those at home dirt cheap, you know? That's the awesome thing about that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because turmeric's kind of expensive, I think. So
really?
I think so. You have to buy the actual root.
Well, you got to buy them at the Asian store. Like type in, you can get like a big brick of it for like $1.75, and then you can start cutting it and selling it to your friends, and you can be like, yo man, Dr. G, you holding? And be like, what you need? You need some ginger? You need some turmeric? What you need? Right? I got best purity. But I would be lying because I'd probably cut it half and half with some radish root.
My
That
apologies
way I could make more money.
for the drug references.
That's medicinal. That is medicine.
So, do we have anything else? As far as, does anybody have any burning questions still? Burning issues?
Burning issues. So, Saturday, guess what we're doing? Does anybody know what we're doing Saturday?
I'm sorry if the phone's moving. We're making the phone move.
I know, I'm just...
Okay, let's
There's
not
an
do it.
earthquake.
Stop.
Oh my God, the earth. All right,
Okay.
all that fracking. I keep making it move. Okay,
Okay.
so Saturday, for everybody that wants to come and go shopping with Dr. G and Holly J, Holly H, Double H and Dr. G. There you go.
Yeah.
That's our
Shopping with Dr. G and Double H.
So we're doing that. We're gonna on Saturday. We're gonna meet at Sprouts at 10 o'clock, and then we're gonna go through the store, and you can ask all the questions you've ever wanted to ask, and hopefully we'll know the answers. And then we'll go to Natural Grocers, probably on Rock, and then we'll go to Thai Ben, and then hopefully we'll answer every possible question you've ever had.
What time?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. 10 a.m. at Sprouts.
p.m.
10 a.m. at Sprouts.
Sprouts on Central.
I have to tell you, I don't know how many times I've been in the grocery store and wish that he was with me. So for those of you who have trouble, Newman says he needs groceries. Newman and Dr. G will be buying your groceries on Saturday if you show up. So there's that.
I'll let you come over. I'll make you dinner.
So I don't know how many times though I've been in the store and just not known, what is this chemical in here? Is this good for me? Can I buy this lotion? Can I buy this processed food that might be convenient? What's good or bad about that? But I need it because it's convenient. It's always nice to have someone along to give you some advice on those things.
Yeah.
So yes, Deb, Sprouts at Central and Rock, the new one. I think we thought that might be a good place to go since I think it's the newest grocery store in town.
Yeah.
So 10 o'clock this Saturday.
Yeah.
And Jenny says, all right, free food. Free food. It's on Dr. G.
It's all free food if you could run fast. I'll go over to the other side of the store and fall down and start yelling, and then you guys just run out with your food.
Yeah, that's
that'll work.
The plan is not to get arrested. That I'm just putting that out there.
We'll blame Holly. All right.
So, do we have any takeaways for tonight?
Well, so takeaways for allergies is we never talked about the other two things, but short term, find something that works. Sometimes it's get rid of wheat and dairy and sugar, and then it's things like grapeseed extract, grapefruit seed extract, SAMe. It's just going to be maybe one person's remedy may not be another person's remedy, and so we have to kind of fine tune those with patients. But those are things that you could do too. And if it doesn't work, then let me know. But otherwise, don't worry about experimenting with some things, right? And then long term, you want to get rid of the sugar, the stress, and the chemicals, so that way your T cells can do the right job like they're supposed to.
Yeah. I think my only takeaway is just to think a little bit more deeply about what really is the cause. If you're not understanding B cells and T cells and all that stuff, you can still understand that maybe what you're eating and drinking or your lifestyle is somehow contributing to your seasonal allergies.
Yeah.
And just that idea is powerful. If you don't know what to do with that idea, or you're struggling after having tried, then come see this guy. So message him or give him a call, and he can help guide you through that process.
Tell him about your yoga.
What about my yoga?
Yoga on Mondays.
Oh, I do teach yoga on Monday nights at the Y, guys. If you guys want to try out yoga, come chat, come get some questions answered. I teach yoga Monday nights at 6:30 at the North YMCA. Yeah. Come get blissed out.
So my niece Brandy and her little boy Wyatt came last time.
Yeah, they came out. They came last Monday. Wyatt came, but he went swimming instead. Yeah.
Kids.
But Brandy came.
Yeah. So it's pretty good because Brandy just had a baby, and so she had her cesarean section, and so she has to start stretching all that tissue out and getting back to healthy. So that was really important for her too.
Yeah.
And yoga is very mindful, which Scott has taught me a lot about. So
thank you, Scott. We're creating this. I love how we're kind of creating this community of like-minded healers and people who are interested in alternative options for health and well-being. So glad to have you guys. Glad you guys shared with us tonight. And next week we're gonna do sleep. If you are having sleep troubles, that is next week. Think about your questions. Maybe throw those out to us. This one doesn't have any problem, but you might. So join us for a talk on home remedies for sleep problems next week.
The best remedy is you take a spoon and you bend it. Yeah.
Okay, and that's good. Good job. Good job with that.
I like to contribute.
Have a good night, guys.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Please share it, like it. Don't touch that button.